Good evening, and welcome to Know Your Rights, the show where you hear directly from lawyers who break down the law and explain the rights of citizens on common legal challenges that confront Belizeans on a daily basis. Tonight, we will be discussing the decriminalization of marijuana and what it means for you. Decriminalization comes under the amendment to the Misuse of Drug Act, which was recently introduced into the House of Representatives. The amendment has not yet been passed into law. It still has to go back to the House to be debated before going to the Senate. You can join the discussion by posting comments or questions on our Facebook page. Tonight, we are honored to have none other than the Attorney General, Honorable Michael Peyrefitte, join us to break down this hot topic, decriminalizing small quantities of marijuana. Good evening and welcome, Attorney General.
It's good to be here.
Thank you for being here.
So hot, the topic's so hot it will go up in smoke.
The topic very hot for true, and especially amongst the younger demographic. We just would like to start with a discussion of the current law. Right. Because as mentioned, the amendment has not yet passed the House. Right. But because the act is so comprehensive, we want to target and direct specific issues due to time constraints of the episode. So when we talk about producing and supplying marijuana, under the current act, is it illegal, and can you face drug trafficking charges?
No, absolutely. The current law is very simple. Marijuana is illegal, and dealing with it in any of its shapes or forms, you are breaking the law, and it's an offense. I think it's 60 grams or less, and you're deemed to be only in possession of it.
Okay.
If it's above that, then you're deemed to be trafficking in it, which carries a stiffer sentence.
Okay.
If you possess it at the prison or in a school, you're deemed to be trafficking it because the law is saying that it's more serious to have it in a school or in a correctional facility. So you're deemed to be selling it, and you can spend 3 years in jail and a fine of up to $10,000 or $100,000. Simple possession is up to $100,000. You don't go to jail, but of course, usually the magistrate doesn't fine you that much. That's the law. What a lot of people don't know is that currently in the law, from the time the law was written,
yes,
there is an exception. You can possess marijuana for medical or therapeutic purposes, as recommended or prescribed by a registered medical practitioner, or other approved health practitioner. So those practitioners would have to be licensed to distribute it for medical purposes. So we have had medical marijuana legislation in Belize for decades. It's just that nobody has ever used it, nobody has ever utilized it. But we have always had the law in place.
So the amendment doesn't speak to that. It speaks to those who are using it for more recreational purposes?
That is correct. The law, this is not for the first time it will be introduced that you can use it for medical purposes. That has always been on the books.
Yes.
It's just that it was never utilized. That will remain. Nothing in the new law, if it passes, will change that concept. That will remain.
Under the current law, while we're speaking on the topic of possession, does this only apply to the drug itself, or when we talk about having these pipes, about these bongs, the equipment, the various equipment that these people use to administer, are these included under the current law as an offense?
No. Under the law, if you have utensils or pipes that are used for smoking marijuana, especially for small amounts of marijuana, possessing those will no longer be an offense under the new law.
Under the new law.
If it passes, those will no longer be offenses.
And
go ahead.
In its basic state, and we got this question a lot, that's why I'm asking it first. In its basic state, marijuana is a plant.
Yes.
And a lot of people can't even identify this plant if they put their 5 plants in front of them. A lot of them can't even pinpoint this is the marijuana tree. Is it an offense if they find this thing growing in your yard? Is it legal? You growing it it's just there.
The new law does not allow you to cultivate marijuana. So when this law passes, if it passes, do not believe that it allows you to grow marijuana. Cultivation will still be illegal and you will still be charged under it. One person who was listening to the show when I was on Lake Road explaining it said that I described it as a wet foot, dry foot policy.
I hear that one.
Where you get it from, who you bought it from, and how you have it, for right now will not be the concern of the government.
Okay.
If you have 10 grams or less, you are in the clear. And I would like an opportunity to just explain the basic concept of the new law as it pertains to the old law. There are two concepts when it comes to marijuana under the law that you must understand that applied in the old law and will also apply in the new law.
Okay.
There's a difference between possessing it and smoking it.
Okay. So we talk about possession and use.
And use. If the police just find you with weed right now in your pocket,
yes,
that's an offense for possession. If they catch you smoking it, you will be charged for possession of whatever you're smoking and for smoking separately.
Yes.
Smoking and possession are two different things.
Yes.
That will remain a prominent feature in the new law if it passes. Now, the government has proposed, and it's not perfect, nothing is, it will never be perfect, but we consider it a step forward. And of course, we will watch very closely to it to see how it operates. And if it turns out to be bad, remember, the law can always be appealed and we go back to the old law.
Yes.
So for those who the new law will benefit, if you treat the new law irresponsibly
yes,
and problems start to happen, well, then the government will not hesitate, from what I see, to go back to make the old law and say, listen to me, it is totally illegal again. So this is a step for those people who use responsibly small amounts of marijuana for your personal consumption. When we talk 10 grams, a Rastaman would tell you that 4 good giant. A casual smoker will tell you that's the equivalent of a half pack of cigarette. So you can get, if you do a gram per stick of weed, you can get 10 sticks of weed out of 10 grams if you roll it skillfully and the proper way. So that amount, if you have it on you, will be legal. So then this is the situation now. Let me be very clear on this.
yes,
You can have, if this new law passes, 10 grams of marijuana on your person, in your car, for example, anywhere in the country, and by simply having it in your pocket
yes.
or on your person, you cannot be detained, arrested, nor charged for that.
Okay. 10 grams or
10
less.
grams or less.
Yes.
You could walk in a police station with it, and the police can arrest you.
Okay.
No. Except if you are on school property.
School property.
From primary school to university. Any place of education, formally recognized education, public, from primary school to university.
Yes.
You cannot have it in your pocket and decide you're going to Nations to pick up your child.
And what about the rehabilitation
Wait,
centers?
man, we rush me, man, we rush
I
me.
tell you an exciting topic.
I have to show a 5 hours, so don't worry. So you have it. This is talking about, we're not at a child yet, you know. We're
Yes.
talking about an adult.
An adult having
You,
it.
as an adult,
Yes.
go to St. Ignatius School. I mentioned St. Ignatius because I'm high school.
Okay.
You go to that school to pick up your child, you walk on the campus, and then you pick up your child and the police find you with 10 grams of marijuana in your pocket.
Yes.
You will commit. That is against the law. But what the police will do, because you're not smoking it, and it's 10 grams or less now, remember, 10 grams or less,
Yes.
you're not smoking it on school grounds, they will give you a warning.
A warning.
A warning. Do not come back here with weed in your pocket at this school.
Okay.
Okay? They will not arrest you, they will not charge you, they will not fine you. A second offense, if they catch you again, the police can then issue you with a ticket that we will develop The regulations
Okay.
will be, the minister will be allowed to make regulations to add and beef up the amendment. To tell you then, listen, you will have to pay a fine of $100 or $200 or $1,000, depending on how many times they had to warn you. This is simply by having 10 grams or less in your pocket.
On the school facility.
On the school ground.
Yeah.
If you have 20 grams in your pocket, the old law will apply and you will be charged for trafficking in marijuana.
So the worst that they look upon with 10 grams or less on a school compound is a ticket, something similar to a traffic
Right,
ticket.
a traffic ticket, and you pay a fine. That's simply for having it in your pocket, in your top pocket, whatever. That's it. Anywhere else that you choose to have that, on the street, in church, police, anywhere you choose to have that, in parliament, anywhere, you are legal.
Okay.
You understand me?
And I want to get into the smoking, the use, because you
No.
explained very adamantly that smoking and
I'll get to it,
possession,
man.
two different things.
I'll get to it, man. No, but let me say, let me give you what you're saying. We're talking about adults.
Adults,
Adults.
18,
So far,
18,
we're talking about adults only.
18 and
18
older.
and over.
18 and older.
Let's get into smoking. You can only smoke in 3 places. Because remember I said smoking different from possession. You cannot smoke in public. You can smoke where you live, in your own private residence.
Yes.
Or I can smoke at your residence if you allow me and give me permission to smoke in there. Or I can smoke at a hotel or somewhere that's not mine, but the hotel allows smoking of marijuana there.
Okay.
You can't smoke on the street. You can't smoke at a disco unless the owner of the disco or the owner of the club gives permission for smoking to
Although
happen
other
there.
people will be there.
Although other people will be there. It's kind of unfair, you know. People smoke cigarette when other people are there too. I mean, come on.
Yes, yes.
And then those are the 3 key things. You cannot smoke in public. You can smoke in your yard. You can smoke in your house. You can smoke in another person's house if they give you permission. And you can smoke in a hotel or any other place where they allow you to smoke.
Allow you to smoke. Okay, AG, thanks for this introduction. We have to take a very short break. But before we go, we once again invite you to join into the conversation by posting your comments or questions on our Facebook page or by emailing us at info@colorblind.bz. We'll be right back. Hi, and welcome back to Know Your Rights. I am your host, Khadija Usher, and I'm here with AG Michael Peyrefitte, and we're discussing the decriminalization of marijuana. So AJ, we'd just like to get right back into it, and we had a very thorough discussion about adults' possession and using the smoking and how that is, and using the drug and how that will be changed under certain circumstances under the amendment. But I won't get into minors, those under 18. What are the implications for under the amendment for them?
What we're saying is that if a child is caught smoking marijuana, whether in school or on the street, he or she will be charged under the old law for smoking. If she or he possesses or is smoking less than 10 grams or possesses 10 grams or less only, not smoking, then that child will be referred to a drug treatment program or be punished currently under the system that the police have. You will do some community service. You will do some learning on the side effects and the bad effects of marijuana. You will have to go through a program that will try and discourage you from using marijuana.
Some rehabilitation
Some
program.
rehabilitation.
Yeah.
Now, that will be more fleshed out and more developed as we go along.
Okay.
Because what we're also saying is that you have to also be a good parent. I personally wanted to put in the law, and I'm having some pushback from some cabinet friends. I wanted because under the law in general, when a child commits a crime or offense, like if a child steals your chain and it's worth $1,000, under the current law, the magistrate can order the parent to pay you back the $1,000. So I was hoping that the parent would then have to pay for the drug treatment or pay. Because, listen, you are to supervise your child.
To put some responsibility
To put some responsibility on the parents. Because let me be clear about something. The government realizes a certain real existence and a reality out there that we can't fight any more sensibly. But under no circumstances, and I have to say this emphatically, the government is not encouraging nor supporting the use, smoking, and possession of marijuana. We're not encouraging that. All we are saying is a law will be created to ensure that those people who do smoke will have protection if they choose to smoke privately and in certain amounts that are clearly for personal use. It is not for children and it's not for public consumption.
Yes. And this goes back to your earlier comment where you said it is specifically for those who can benefit from it.
Right.
And this section is for those, as you're saying, in the privacy of their homes. So it's very important for you to make clear to us the intent of the law, that why it came about, because we've received a lot of comments that, oh, the government finally, they say the health benefits are staying, the government finally said this. That may not necessarily be the case, but for you to say that, well, we're providing some leniency then is a better way to frame it.
To be frank with you, it's a combination of many things. People smoke. It seems that people will always smoke. I don't smoke, but people will smoke. And people will always want to get the marijuana. And we're constantly clogging up our court system with people who only smoke marijuana. It is not a violent offense, and we believe that there isn't any more damage that it could cause than, say, compared to alcohol or tobacco. And if those things are legal, then why can't small amounts of marijuana be legal? That was the concept that was behind decriminalizing a small amount of it for personal consumption. And the people who it is aimed at are those people who are responsible enough to get their marijuana in a responsible way, go to their homes and smoke it there. You're watching a game, you're watching a boxing match, you're doing something what people normally do. You're in your home and you're smoking your marijuana in your privacy. No, we expect that adults who do that will do it responsibly. We expect you to not smoke around your children, but the government cannot legislate for parenting. That's up to you as a responsible parent. Because I can legislate that you not smoke in front of your children, but then what if you're smoking cigarettes in front of your children is just as damaging. So it is expected that people will deal with the amendment that gives them an ease with some responsibility. A big ease will be given for this reason. If you have 10 grams or less of marijuana and you're smoking it in the privacy of your home or your friend's home, you will not be arrested. No more arresting, no more harassment, no more paying of fines, no more wasting your time in court. And the police are totally on board when they say, listen, man, we're not going to walk around the streets with scales, weighing your marijuana to see if they're less than 10 grams or not. But we'll use our discretion. We know what 10 grams look like. We know more or less how it looks. So then we will, if it's 11 or 10.5, I mean, come on.
Yeah, we're not going to the point.
What we're saying is that make sure that the amount that you're consuming is 10 grams or less. Even if you have to weigh yourself. Now, this is the next thing. And don't kill us for the legislation. Similar so-called first world legislation, they don't know how to address things, but this is how they address it. In Canada, for example, prostitution is only half legal or half prosecutable. If a male goes and wants to pay for a prostitute, the prostitute will not be charged for prostituting, but the male will be charged for buying it. So you're not arrested for selling, but you're arrested for buying. We don't know how that makes sense, but that's the law. Similarly, it is still not legal to be trading in marijuana or to be selling or dealing marijuana.
You can't push it through.
You cannot deal it. But what we're saying is, it's kind of like, if you go back to the wet foot, dry foot policy, the Americans are saying, listen, if you can make it to Florida and to the beach, we won't question how you got here, you're fine.
We have to make it, we'll make you stay.
If we catch you in the sea, you're not fine, we'll send you back. So listen, if you're smart enough to buy your marijuana in 10-gram amounts or less, and that's all you have on you at any given time, then you're fine. If you have more than that, then the old law will apply to you and you'll be charged for possession if you have less than 60 grams. That's what we're saying. That's what the Act and the amendment aims to achieve, to say, listen, 10 grams or less in the privacy of your home or another private home that allows you to do it, adults only.
So there's a strong intention to free up the resources of our police, of our courts, and especially our jails for small offenses. But I guess the confusion comes in the contradiction that you also gave a very good example of half of it being decriminalized and the next half not real decriminalized. So a lot of people they ask, so we could buy it, but we can't supply it.
You can't buy it nor supply it. You could have it.
You could have it.
No, of course, man. Sense out of nonsense, you have to buy it from somebody, get it from somebody. So, but if we catch you doing that, then the law will apply, the whole law will apply. But if you can somehow not be caught doing that, then you're fine, because you cannot deal in marijuana. I'm not trying to offer anybody any free advice, but if you're the seller, sell only in a 10-gram amount, so that you can never be, you could say, well, I just give me barley 10 grams, I'm not really the seller. I'm not trying to give anybody any ideas. I'm just trying to say, listen, make sure that when you have, if the police come and they search you and they find marijuana on you, it's more or less 10 grams or less.
And they can't really ask you nothing, wet foot, dry foot policy.
Wet foot, dry foot policy. Where you get the sticker weed from? Brethren, that are less than 10 grams.
That's all I need to tell you.
Please give me back my weed and make I go smoke it home in peace. And the policeman will give you back your weed. He will not take it away, he will not charge you, he will not arrest you for 10 grams or less. And if the policeman haul up the house and you just smoke it in your couch, if you have 10 grams or less, you're home free and dry. You're good, you have nothing to worry about.
Thank you, AG. We'll be right back. We have to take one more commercial break, and then we will be reviewing your questions and comments. Hi, and welcome back to Know Your Rights. In this segment, we thank you for your questions and comments you posted on our Facebook page. We have selected some of your questions to ask the Attorney General. So, AG, we want to start with a question from Louis. Louis says, if caught with a small $5 bag of weed, is it going to be a charge also? We need to know if we could be in possession of it.
The important thing is not the price. The important thing is the amount. So it could be 100, it could be $5, because from what I'm told, a little bit of quality weed in the same amount of a little bit of bush weed will call for different prices.
Yes,
so
yes.
The price is not the issue. The issue is the amount.
We have
10
to
grams or
focus
less.
on the quantity.
Yes, it's the quantity,
10
not
grams
the
or
quality.
less.
The quantity.
The quantity. No police can check your quality.
Nobody interested in the quality. If you choose to smoke bad weed, that's your business.
Your business. And then our second question is from Pacheco. So 10 grams is decriminalized, right?
Yeah.
So is it legal to have and publicly consume it? Or will it still be taboo to consume it? Because I know for a fact, police officers will try to find a loophole and still prosecute anyone with possession of this plant.
Now listen to me. We spoke to the police, and the police would love to do more important things than harass people for small amounts of weed. It's too much paperwork for such a small offense. The police are relieved that they wouldn't have to be worried about these small amounts of marijuana. Taboo, well, that's for you. What may be taboo for certain people may not be taboo for another person.
Yeah.
But for sure, smoking weed in your home or in the privacy of another person's home is legal. Whether it's taboo is for you and your circle of friends. No, public is what he said, I think, in the question.
Yes, he said publicly.
You cannot smoke publicly. Not on the street, not in anybody's house that doesn't give you permission, not in any government office, not nowhere that's public, that's owned by the government or run by the government in any way. Street, public, you cannot do that. You can only smoke where the owner of the premises gives you permission. Or your own premises where you occupy.
And our final question comes from Ray. And this question actually came from a lot of other people. Why not just legalize it and done? And I know you know this one may come.
Well, that's a great question, right? Why not just legalize it? Well, like I said, the government is not willing to promote the use of marijuana. We want to ensure that we do it incrementally. We want to do it in phases. And like I said, for those people who want total legality, well, let's see how you handle a little bit of that legality. If you handle it responsibly, then who knows? The government could go further. But like I said, I don't think anything should be, we shouldn't go from 0 to 100 in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Let's build up. Let's see what a little bit will do. Let's see if it will create problems or not. Because what we want to do is to shoot to create the perfect law. That's what you shoot to create. So as we go along, we will see where there may be mistakes in the current one. We could see where there could be loopholes. And so we gradually fix those things as we go along. It's like building a house.
Yeah.
You don't build the roof before you build the foundation, the flooring, the siding. You have to slowly work your way up. And we don't think that that is something that we would want to do immediately.
Yes.
So let's take it slow. This is, in my view, a great start.
A good start.
If you are prepared to be the people who we listen to, who were the most reasonable sector of the populace, were those people who smoke small amounts for their personal consumption in their homes. This law is designed for you. That to me sounds like a responsible person.
And AJ, I'm so sorry that we have to wrap up, but we come to the end of this episode.
I want to say one more thing before I go.
Sure.
We are also putting in that new law that any person who was previously convicted of an offense and you were fined less than $1,000, you could apply to the, even if you were charged with, we notice as well that when you go to apply for your visa or you
get
a police record, there's a marijuana conviction on your police record. If you were charged with such a small amount in the past that the magistrate gave you a fine of less than $1,000, that record can now be expunged.
I think you have a lot of people that line up at your office after this.
Well, not my office, go to the magistrate. And then, the police minister can then expunge that small amount.
And take that off your record.
And then take it off your record so it's not there. So like I said, this is a great, it's not all the way, but it's a great step to me in the right direction. 10 grams or less. It's all you have to remember, it's like a poem. 10 grams or less, no schools, adults only, in your home.
Okay. We have come to the end of our show for tonight. Thank you, Attorney General, for joining us and providing clarification on tonight's topic. I'm sure that viewers know.
Can I say one more thing?
You can't send them a thing we got over, but I'm sure that viewers now have a better understanding of what the decriminalization of small quantity of marijuana means. Know Your Rights will be back on Monday, September 18th at 8 p.m. with Attorney Brian Neal, who will discuss your rights when it comes in contact with the police. Thank you for watching and see you next Monday for another episode of Know Your Rights.